Hi guys, you're welcome to Dssg Nation. So if this is your first time watching a video from Dssg Nation, do make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button so we can notify you whenever we hit any video. So today we are going to be talking about hyperpituitarism. So if you are going to watch our video of pituitary gland, just make sure you go there right now, and I'm going to drop a link up ahead so you can check it after this video. So stay tuned. Yeah, welcome back. So we decided we are going to be talking about hyperpituitarism. Now, the word hyperpituitarism is just from two words. So the first one is hyper. So the word hyper means overfunctioning. So overfunctioning, when something is performing more than its function. So the word pituitarism is from the word pituitary, which is a gland. So the pituitary gland. So if you say hyperpituitarism, it means overfunctioning of the pituitary gland. Now, to understand this, we all know that the pituitary gland is to give 5 major commands, and the acronym for that is what? G square PCT. If you are new to this, just make sure you watch the video that I'm going to drop its link ahead, and that is the pituitary gland. So if you understand what I mean by the G square PCT. So the G is what? The gonadotrophin releasing hormone. Oh, sorry, that is just this is the command for the hypothalamus. I'm very sorry about that. So this is the command from the hypothalamus, G square PCT. So the G is gonadotrophin releasing hormone. So the second G is growth hormone releasing hormone, and then the P is prolactin releasing hormone, and the C is corticotropic releasing hormone, and the last T is thyroid releasing hormone. So all these are the commands from hypothalamus. And this command are coming to the pituitary. So if the gonadotrophin acts on the pituitary on the other hand is going to secrete the FSH and LH. So for the growth hormone releasing hormone, the hypothalamus is going to secrete the growth hormone, and the pituitary is going to secrete the growth hormone. So in response to PRH coming from the hypothalamus, the pituitary is going to secrete prolactin. So, in response to the corticotropic releasing hormone, the pituitary is going to secrete ACTH, and then for the thyroid stimulating hormone, the pituitary is going to secrete thyroid stimulating hormone. So, having said this, I'm going to clean the board, and we are going to talk about the hyperfunctioning of all these hormones. Stay tuned. Yeah, welcome back. So we're talking about the hyperpituitarism. So what are the causes of hyperpituitarism? So the major cause for hyperpituitarism is tumor. So that is an additional cell to the original cell. So let's say we have a cell like this. So if there is development of another cell around those cells, around that cell rather, so that is what we just call tumor. So there will be multiplication of that single cell. So from our pituitary from the video we made on pituitary gland, we said we have different cells that secrete different hormones in the pituitary gland. No, now let's say the affected cell now, the cell that is affected by tumor is let's say growth hormone. So the growth hormone, which is one of the secretion of the pituitary gland. It means instead of this single cell to be secreting growth hormone, all these cells are going to be secreting growth hormone. So all these cells are going to be secreting what? Growth hormone. And this is going to lead to oversecretion of the these are called the somatotropes. Yeah. So the somatotropes, they are going to be secreting more growth hormone rather. So more growth hormone than what the body needs. And the growth hormone is acts on what? It acts on the bones and muscles. So the bone, it is to develop upwards and downward at a place called the epiphyseal cartilage. Epiphyseal cartilage. Now, if there is hypersecretion of this growth hormone before puberty, so this growth hormone is going to be acting on the epiphyseal cartilage, and that will lead to what? Increase in the growth of the bone. So the bone will become very long, and this condition is what we call gigantism. So gigantism. So that's we cause what? It will cause gigantism, oversecretion of gonadotrophin, of growth hormone. So that the growth hormone is going to act on the epiphyseal cartilage in excess, and that will lead to what? Excessive increase in the length of the bones. So that person will be like over 7 feet tall. Over 7 feet tall. So that is what we call gigantism. So gigantism is just a disorder of the endocrine system where there is increased amount of growth hormone acting on the epiphyseal cartilage, and this will lead to what? Increase in the length of the bone, so upwards and downwards. So the bone will become very long, and the person is going to be over 7 feet long, over 7 feet tall rather. But the body proportion is still going to remain the same. So the hand will not be too long, and then the leg will be short. So all the bones are going to increase in length, and that is that for oversecretion of GH before puberty. Now, what of after puberty? So after puberty, so when the growth of bone is completed, it means the epiphyseal cartilage will have turned to epiphyseal line. So the bone will not be able to grow upward and downwards again. So the bone will not be able to grow in length again. So after puberty, the bone is going to be increasing in size. So it will become larger and broader. So the person's hand will be big. So the person will need another kind of glove. So the normal size of the glove is not going to fit into the person's hand. So for the leg, the person will need other pairs of shoes. So and so on and so forth, including the wing, the ring, the wedding ring or any kind of ring. So the person will need another size of ring because the bone will have become enlarged. So because the epiphyseal plate has been fixed, epiphyseal cartilage has been fixed, so the bone will not be able to grow in length anymore. On the other hand, it is going to become large. So, and that condition is what we call acromegaly. Acromegaly. So, acromegaly. Acromegaly. So, that is what? Oversecretion of the GH hormone. So, let's go to the next one, and that is what? That is the prolactin hormone. The prolactin. So, oversecretion of prolactin, what is it going to cause? Stay tuned. Yeah, welcome back. So that is that on the growth hormone. Now to the next hormone, which is PRL rather, sorry. So the PRL is prolactin. So oversecretion of prolactin, what is it going to cause? We know that prolactin used to act on the breast. It used to act on the breast, and the breast is going to do what? It's going to produce more milk. It's going to produce milk. So under the effect of prolactin. So, if there is hypersecretion of prolactin due to the presence of tumors, so other cells that duplicate from the lactotrophs. Lactotrophs are those cells that secrete prolactin. Lactotrophs. So, there will be increase in production of prolactin. So, there will be increase in production of prolactin, and that is going to act on what? It is going to act on the breast, and when it acts on the breast is going to produce more milk. And this condition, increased amount of milk, is called galactorrhea. Galactorrhea. So, galactorrhea. So, this galactorrhea will lead to what? Excess production of milk. Now, if you remember from our family planning, we used to call a method, we used to call exclusive breastfeeding a mode of family planning. Because it used to prevent fertility. So the mother will not be able to give birth during the time of excessive breastfeeding. That has its own mechanism apart. So when we are doing family planning, we are going to be digging deep into that. So but in short, this galactorrhea, excessive production of milk, is going to impede the fertility of women. So it is going to lead to infertility. So the woman will not be able to give birth. That is in woman now. But in man, or let me say in men, it used to call sterility. Sterility. So the man will be sterile. So the man will not be able to give birth. So due to excess production of milk. But in fact, it is not sterility. Sterility is a method. So we used to call it impotence. So impotence. So it used to call impotence in men. Impotence. So it used to call impotence in men. So the men used to become impotent. So due to the excess production of prolactin. And this is what is going to happen in oversecretion of prolactin rather. So a quick recap. So increase in production of prolactin due to the presence of tumors originating from the lactotrophs is going to act on the breast, and that will lead to increased production of milk called galactoria. And galactoria in female, it is to lead to infertility. So the woman will not be able to give birth, but in male it causes impotency. So, and that is that for prolactin. So let's talk about the next hormone, that is PC. The C, okay, that is adenocorticotropic hormone now. So stay tuned. Now, let's talk about the oversecretion of corticotropic releasing hormone. We all know that our corticotropic releasing hormone is going to act on the what? On the anterior pituitary, and the anterior pituitary is going to secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone. And our adrenocorticotropic hormone is going to act on where? It's going to act on the adrenal cortex, So the outer part of the adrenal gland is the adrenal cortex. So, and when it acts on the adrenal cortex is going to secrete majorly three things. So that is the mineralocorticoid, so the glucocorticoid, cortisol to be precise, glucocorticoids, and these one are the sex hormones. So there will be increased production of all these hormones. So now, let's say there is increased production of ACTH, but by what? That is by the corticotrophs of the anterior pituitary. Corticotrophs. So if all these things is sounding strange to you, just make sure you go and watch our video on pituitary gland. You are going to understand every single thing I'm talking about here. So if the corticotrophs responsible for producing ACTH, if they become cancerous and there are more number of cells, more number of corticotrophs in the pituitary, in the anterior pituitary, so that is going to lead to increased production of what? Increased production of ACTH, and increased production of ACTH will act on the adrenal cortex, and adrenal cortex is going to lead to increased production of all these hormones, and this condition is what we call Cushing syndrome. Cushing's syndrome. I'm going to be talking more about it when we read the disorder of the adrenal gland, and that is that on adrenocorticotropic hormone. Now the last one is the growth hormone. So the growth hormone as well, same thing is going to happen. Sorry, the thyroid hormone, the thyroid stimulating hormone. So the thyroid stimulating hormone, increase in the production of thyroid stimulating hormone is going to act on the thyroid gland. And when it acts on the thyroid gland will increase the secretion of what? Of the T3 and the T4. So this condition is called hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism. So, and that is that on hyperpituitarism. So let me clean the board and come back with a recap. Stay tuned. Yeah, welcome back. Now, we're talking about the hyperpituitarism. So I said hyperpituitarism is just the overfunctioning of the pituitary gland. So it is going to be producing hormones more than it should be. I mean, more than it should. So, and we said the hormones are the what? The growth hormone. So increased production of growth hormone in under puberty, it used to lead to gigantism. There will be increase in length of the what? In length of the bones. So for the second one, okay, that is after puberty. So after puberty, it used to lead to acromegaly. Since the bone cannot grow in length anymore, it's going to become large, and that will be manifested as wide jaw bones. So wide palms, wide feet, and the likes. So that is that for the growth hormone. So we talked about the prolactin. So increased production of prolactin is going to lead to what? Excess production of milk called galacturia, and galacturia can interfere with the hormones of the reproductive system, the gonadotropins, the estrogen, progesterone, and that is going to lead to infertility in female and impotency in male. So that's that on prolactin. So increased production of adenocorticotropic hormone will lead to Cushing syndrome, increase of what? Increase in production of the mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoid, and the sex hormones. So the last one, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. So for the thyroid stimulating hormone, it is going to lead to increased production of T3 and T4, and that is hyperthyroidism. Now, what is the treatment for hyperpituitarism? The treatment they used to give to hyperpituitarism, especially for acromegaly, is transsphenoidal hypophyseectomy. So, transsphenoidal hypophyseectomy. So, what we really need to pick is just from here. The word ectomy means removal, and the word hypophyse from here is hypophysis, which means what? Your pituitary gland. So they are going to make an incision at the roof of the mouth, and they are going to do what? They are going to remove the pituitary gland. So because it is producing a lot of hormones. So, and that is what we call the transsphenoidal hypophyseectomy. And that marks the end of this video. So if you really enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And if this is the first time watching a video from Dssg Nation, just make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so we can notify you whenever we create a new video. Hi guys.